Good afternoon, this is Nicholas from Gandora Gaming, and I was literally right about to go to bed. It's my day off, and behold, we have a brand new archetype reveal for Valmonica. If you don't know, Valmonica is the new archetype that got revealed for Valiant Smashers. We already had the previous archetype revealed, and now we have the second archetype revealed. There's only two main deck monsters, both of them being Pendulum, Scale 5 and Scale 3. But they also have two link monsters and a whole bunch of spells and traps. So let's go straight into this. I'm very curious to see how this goes and to see the playstyle of this archetype. Because one of my favorite things in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is every archetype's different playstyle and mechanics. So we had Mementos. Let's see if Valmonica's is pretty good. So first things first, we have a level 4 Angelo for Monica. It's a Dark Fairy Pendulum effect monster. 1200 attack, 2100 defense, big ass. While you have a Fiend monster card in your other Pendulum zone, each time you gain life points, place one Resonance card counter on this card. So that's interesting. So it wants you to have the other scale, because I'm guessing the other one's going to be a Fiend. And then each time you gain life points, put a counter on it. So it's going around spell counters, but it's not spell counters, it's Resonance counters. Or Ramon's counters. The second effect is, once a turn, when your opponent's monsters declare an attack, you can immediately after this resolves, link summon one Valkymer monster from your deck, or Valmonica monster from your deck. So, does this mean using monsters on field, or you just link summon out of nothing? I'm assuming it's using monsters you control, so this card literally says, hey, you can link summon this card while this card is in your scales, which is pretty good. Its second effect is, and now that was his Pendulum Scales effects, its monster effects is going to use the first and second effect of this card once a turn. And this card is in your hand, you could discard one other card, place this card and one Demon from your deck to your Pendulum zone. So it places scales. So if you discard a card, you can place this and another Pendulum into your scale. That's pretty solid. It places your scales. Then during the main phase, if this card is normal or special summon this turn, you can banish one Valkymer normal spell or trap. This effect becomes gain life points when this card was activated. So basically, this card helps you gain life points, and it also places scales. Interesting. And also link summons when your opponent declares an attack. Interesting. Now we have the Demon Valmonica, Light Fiend monster, Pendulum effect monster, level 4, 1200 attack, 2100 defense, big ass again. While you have a Fairy monster in your other Pendulum zone, each time you take effect damage, place one Remnants counter on this card. So this one says when you take burn damage, when the other one says when you gain life points. So it's kind of like a Romage scenario where your Romages want you to gain and lose life points to trigger different effects. Interesting. When a monster you opponent controls loses 100 attack for each Ramon's counter on this card. So this card doesn't allow you to link summon. So it's infinitely worse than the other one, but it is still a free lowering attack, which is cool. And its monster effect is going to use the first and second effect of this card once per turn each. And this card is in your hand, discard this card, place the other Demon monster from your deck to your Pendulum zone. So basically, hey, it places scales, just like the other one. So this one, Fairy places Fiend, Fiend places Fairy. And then during the main phase, if this card is normal special summon this turn, you can banish one Vermont normal spell or trap from your graveyard. This effect becomes, it gains a life point equal to that. Interesting. So, you take damage, right? You discard this. During the main phase, and discard normal spell, you can banish one. Yeah, you take damage. So you take damage in order to trigger the Valmos counters. Okay, so this one says you take damage. This one says you gain life. Interesting. Now we have two new link monsters. We have Valmonica no Ishiguruma, or Old Deity of the Valkyrie. Valmonica, interesting card. Looks like this is the Light Fairy, even though it's a Dark Fairy monster. Can't be link summoned unless you have a Fairy monster card with 3 or more Resonance counters in your Pendulum zone. And it does also say it's any effect monster, which is cool. 2500 attack. If this card is link summon, you can target one monster your opponent controls up to the number of Resonance cards in your Pendulum zone. destroy them. So basically it says, hey, your opponent declares an attack on any monster. If you have a whole bunch of resonance counters on your pendulum scales, cool, remove, it doesn't say remove freak out, it just says cool, I don't know, it does, remove 3 counters. No, it doesn't say remove freak out, it just says quick link summon. You quick link summon to this guy, and then this card says, hey, destroy monsters your opponent controls on summon equal to the number of counters you have. And then its second effect is you can remove 3 counters for this card to make 3 attacks this turn. That's pretty solid. That's actually a really cool mechanic. I don't like that you can only link summon this thing with resonance counters, but it's still cool. We have a new one, a Light Fiend monster, so I guess the demons are actually angels and the angels are actually demons because the demons are light and the angels are dark effects. I'm not really sure. This is the Divine Oddity of the Valmonica. 2500 attack effect monster. Can't be link summoned unless you have a Fiend monster with 3 or more resonance counters. So the other one required you to have, on the Fairy Pendulum, 3 counters. This one requires you on a Fiend one. Can't be link summoned unless you have a Fiend monster card with 3 or more resonance counters in your Pendulum zone. Cool. And this card would be destroyed by battle or card effects. Remove 3 counters from this Pendulum zone instead. Once a turn, quick effect, target 1 Valmorian normal spell or trap that is banished to a graveyard. This effect becomes that effect this card activated. So it copies, as a quick effect, it copies spells and traps effects. Cool, that's actually really solid. So basically, you can link summon into this thing, and then this thing can quick effect copy the effect of a spell and trap already engraved. Really, really solid. Let's keep going. I still don't know how you're gonna play this deck, just because it has like the weird thing where you can use any pendulum deck, I guess, to make these guys, but there's no main deck monsters, so what are you using to fill up the space for the deck? That's my issue. But so far it's interesting. Now we have a whole bunch of spells and traps. We have a field spell in the form of Valmonica Angelic Demon Selector. You can only activate this card once a turn. You can only use the second effect of this card once a turn. When this card resolves, add 1 Valkyria monster from your deck to hand. So it adds a monster, so it's Rhoda. 2, and the second effect is if you have 3 resonance counters is placed on this card in your pendulum zone, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end phase, but it can't declare attack, so it has a gimmicky Snatch Steal effect. That's really, really cool. I wish it was a quick effect, but I'll take what you can get. It's a Snatch Steal. Really, really cool card. And don't forget, you can Snatch Steal your opponent's monster and then link off of it, because the link monsters require any effect monsters. All they require you to have resonance counter. So it's a Snatch Steal, and then you can link it off, which is cool. Then you have Valmonica Verasi, normal spell. You can only activate this card with its name once per turn. Apply these effects. Your opponent chooses if you do not have a Valmonica card in your pendulum zone. Gain 500 life points. Then you escalate the top cards of your deck and escalate a Valkyria card. If you do, add it to hand and then shuffle the rest of the deck. Take 500 life points, then send 1 Valkyria card from your deck to graveyard. So you either gain life or you lose life. Cool. Foolish Burial or excavate the top card of your deck and then add the hand if it's a Valkyria card. You have another spell, Valkyria Incarnate, normal spell. Apply these effects. You can choose if you your opponent chooses if you have a Valmonica card in your pendulum zone. If you don't have one, gain 500 life points. Then your opponent chooses 1 monster in their graveyard that can be special summoned, if any, to for you to special summon it. So basically, this card says, "Hey, you gain 500 life points, and then you steal an opponent's monster." I don't like that when your opponent chooses a monster from in your graveyard, because let's say you don't have really that much in your graveyard or pendulums. What are you reborning with this? That seems interesting. And if you take 500, you can add a level 4 from your graveyard to your hand. So I guess the idea is that the links are always going to be link summoned, and they're never going to be engraved. Actually, the links are going to be engraved, and your pendulums are just going to be in your extra deck. That's the idea. So that this spell card can literally just be like, cool, add whatever you need and go from there. Also, I love how they were reprinting the stained glass of light and dark. That's kind of cool. We also have one more card. Sensu. Oh wait, they have two more cards. My bad. Two trap cards. We have Valmonica, the Guiding Rhythm. No after this card once a turn. If you control a Valmonica monster card, apply these effects. If you control a Valmonica Link monster, apply both effects in sequence. Gain 500 life points, then destroy one spell and trap on the field. Take 500 life points, and then return one monster from your deck to hand. That's a pretty solid effect. And don't forget the Link monster can copy these effects, which is pretty cool. The other normal trap is, and then the final card, Valmonica, the Selecting Melody. If you control a Valmonica monster, apply one of these effects, and then if you control a Link, do both in the same sequence. Gain 500 life points. Also, your opponent can't take can't target Valmonica monsters you control with card effects this turn. Take 500 damage. Then you can negate the effects of one effect monster your opponent controls until the end of the turn. Really, really solid effects. I just don't know how they're going to be applied because the archetype is still so minimum. Like, if you think about the main deck, like, even if you min-max on all the traps and all the spells and all the monsters, you're still not even at 20 cards. So, actually, you'll be, like, at half your deck. So, what are you going to fill the other half of your deck with? I just feel like this archetype needs a lot of love. I think it's a really cool in concept. And I think as a pendulum archetype, it's very interesting. I just feel like there's just not enough cards in the main deck to figure it out. But I bet you it's really splashable. Nothing is locking you in anything, so I can see other pendulum decks splashing this in. But then the other issue is that their scales suck. It's 3 and a 5, which really, really sucks because 3 and 5, what are you pendulum summoning? Just 4s. It's just 4s. That's it. And there's not really a pendulum archetype that specializes in just 4s. If you're playing Performer Pal or like any magician deck or Odd Eyes, you're pendulum summoning 7s and 8s and all those big guys. I can definitely see this being played in Sofa Core because they're already a fairy archetype, so there might be some potential there. But or maybe this is like an engine and what's that archetype called from God, it came out with Labyrinth. Valiance, not Valiance. Is it Valiance? Yeah, Valiance. I can see Valiance playing it because they really don't care about their pendulum scales. Because ultimately, they can do their whole combo because they use the pendulum scales as like spawn points for their monsters to summon. So I can see them like doing the entire Valence combo and then placing one of these girls in their scales and then just doing this shit combos, which is interesting. But I just don't know if Valence need to do that. Like, yes, they don't care about pendulum summoning, so that's a good thing, but they do need their scales in order to summon out more monsters, because that's how they spin the field, and they can't have these things clogging them. So, I don't know. Maybe you all tell me. Seems really interesting, but I don't really know. So, hopefully you all enjoyed. Don't think stupid, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.